Good morning, my name is Ardaman Lalui, and today we're going to do Thinking Together, which is also called Big 7. I'm assuming that you have already seen the transformation, future SME transformation process, and this is that context, and also I'm assuming that you have already downloaded the workbook from our website, futureSME website. Okay. If you have a look at the traditional model or existing model of organization or a team, we usually have a team leader and we have member of team or manager and subordinates. And he's expected to do all the thinking, and they're also expecting to do all the thinking, and also he's been told that he has to do all the thinking. Therefore, this is the model that we have, is very common, and everybody accepts it as the norm. In order to think together, we have to move from this model to a new model. This new model is that basically people are thinking at one brain, and the group leader acts as a facilitator for decision-making process and also for thinking together. What benefit we get from this as we go from thinking alone to thinking together is ownership, commitment, diversity, innovation, cooperation, unity all increase. However, command is much more efficient, faster, and also gives a very good short-term result. That's why we're more and more working at this level. However, if you want better innovation and better commitment and better diversity and better ownership, that is the way to go. How do we do this? In order to think together, we need a set of agreed rules for sharing opinion. What I like to suggest, and also if you have a look at this with your team, sit down and decide and agree on agreed rules for sharing opinion. How are you going to share opinion together when you're sitting and thinking together? Come up with a list of groups, a list of rules, agreed rules, but not more than 7. The second box that you want to have a look at is necessary character qualities. What inequalities each one of us have to develop in order to be able to think as one brain together. The third one is what I have to avoid. What are the character traits that I have to avoid and park it outside the door and not to bring it in. And last box is about agreed facilitation guidelines. What kind of guidelines that we want to all obey, and we also want to have a group leader to impose on the group. Therefore, I'm going to give you a few minutes to consult and do these boxes. Come back to me, and I'll go through the rules, the figures that I have, or the rules and the guidelines that I have, and then you may decide to modify or change some of your own thinking. I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, welcome back. Rule number 1. Rule number 1 on the box number 1 is that when the opinion is expressed, it's like a gift. Like a gift. You put the gift in the middle of the table and you stand back. Opinion, ideas, once expressed becomes the property of the group and not the individual expressing them. In other words, we put our opinion as a gift in the middle of the table, we stand back, detach from it. When we get to rule number 7, I'll explain why we're doing this. Okay? We rule to number 2. Every message has got 2 components. What we say, which is the content, and how we say it, which is the feeling and the spirit behind that content. One word is like a fire, another word is like a light. Because basically, we want to work on that light quadrant. In other words, the content and feeling and the spirit has to be in harmony. Freely express thoughts frankly and openly, but with mutual respect and trust. Okay? Rule number 3. Question for you. How do we belittle the thoughts of others? And what harm does this do? Can you just discuss among yourselves and come back to me in a couple of seconds? Okay? Good. Putting people down. Body language. Patronizing. Ignoring. Sarcasm. And also interrupting. These are the way that we feel our thoughts have been belittled, and sometimes we belittle thoughts of other people. Therefore, rule number 3 is basically do not belittle thoughts of others. Do not belittle the thoughts of others. Rule number 4. Don't insist on your opinion. What harm does this do? Usually, the truth stays hidden and also may cause conflict. Rule number 5. Why people stay quiet at meetings? And why do we feel hurt when somebody opposes opinion? I'll give you a couple of minutes to discuss with your team and come back and we go through my list. Sometimes people don't want to be made fun of. The other one is that sometimes I think that I'm a newcomer over here, I'm a low position, somebody higher position over here, therefore I should stay quiet. Sometimes I don't say because I don't want to somebody oppose my opinion, I don't want to feel hurt or get hurt. Sometimes I could be shy, or I think I don't have enough knowledge, or fear of all kind of things. These are preventing me from expressing my thoughts or stay quiet at meetings. In this case, I must make it very clear that it's perfectly okay to stay quiet at meetings if you have nothing to say. However, if you want to say something and we don't stop, these are the reasons. Therefore, the rule number 5 is if anyone opposes, don't feel hurt. We must take this rule and rule number 2 together. Remember rule number 2 was that express your thoughts freely, frankly, but with respect. If the thoughts are expressed lovingly, frankly, and with respect, and if I get hurt, it's my problem. However, if people don't obey that rule and be disrespectful, etc., and if I feel hurt, I have every right to feel hurt. We move to rule number 6, and this is extremely common, and I'm sure you have it on your list, which says, listen with genuine respect, without prejudice, superiority, or mistrust to the views expressed. You cannot believe it. Usually we don't listen to people. One of the things you find out, if that's happening and people not listening, interrupting, etc., bring the monkey in. We use this monkey and we pass it on. You can only speak if the monkey in your hand, and then when I finish it, I give it to the facilitator and facilitator pass it on to the next person. When it becomes a habit, then you can get rid of the monkey. But however, if it causes a problem and people cannot withhold themselves back and continue interrupting other people, this all dominating the meeting, you may bring monkey in. It's extremely useful tool. Rule number 7. Remember rule number 1? In rule number 1, we mentioned that when you express your opinion like a gift, put it in the middle of the table, and then stand back. Then what's going to happen? The truth emerges when we clash opinion. We look for a spark of the truth. Therefore, if I'm attached to my opinion and somebody opposes my opinion, I'm going to feel very hurt and causes personality clashes. Therefore, the key is to leave it out and look for a spark. Therefore, it is the opinion that we are tackling, not the person. We have to separate the person from opinion. Tackle the problem, never the person. Therefore, rule number 7 is dispassionately seek the truth in other views and adopt it when you find it. What is the secret? We're going to move to the box number 2. What is the secret of the thinking together? At the moment, we spoke about the 7 agreed rules. However, what makes these 7 agreed rules very effective when we bring our heart into it, when we bring the values into it. What are those values that makes it very effective? This patience, inner qualities. I have to develop those that qualities. Pure motive. A desire to be of service. A desire to be of service. In other words, common good take precedence over my self-interest. Humility. probably one of the most important aspects of the thinking and seeing truth is being this quality of humility. Any leadership book that you read, humility comes on the top of the qualities that the leaders must develop. Character. We need courtesy and dignity and moderation and courage in order to be obeyed. Rule number 2, express our thoughts frankly, lovingly, with truth, etc. Detachment from one's opinion, ego, and the outcome. Otherwise, we're going to feel very hurt, or we're going to give hurt, or we're going to insist on opinion. Last but not least, sincerity. I say what I mean, and I really believe what I say. The key to this, to self-reflection. As we go through these big seven of the 7 rules and 7 inner qualities, I'll come to realize and become more aware of certain qualities I have to develop, and hopefully, not hopefully, definitely will allow me to continually improve my inner qualities, which is a kind of self-transformation is going to happen over here. What are the obstacles? What are the traits? Usually the list is very long. Arrogance or pride is one. Insecurity, moodiness, perfectionism. Perfectionism is excellence, is very good. But by perfectionism over here we mean unrealistic expectations of ourselves and other people that usually, without exception, becomes in the way of not thinking together. Cynicism, causing issues. Prejudice, of course, when we prejudice, then we have a very distorted way of looking at the reality. We cannot read the reality external, internal, when we have prejudices, when we are cynic, or we are perfectionist, or we are moody, or we are insecure, or we are arrogant. And last but not least, backbiting. Backbiting causes tremendous amount of problem within a team, inside and outside. Therefore, these are the set. I'd like you to go back to your the workbook and basically have a couple of minutes of reflection and answer the questions. Basically, what challenges I have and what qualities I need to develop in order to be able to apply the thinking together as one brain. What rules we should obey, or what guidelines we should have in order to facilitate this process. I've just put a number of seven, but depends on your circumstances, your situation, etc. You may decide add or subtract from this and make your own list. Speak through the chair. Remember, speak through the chair, and that would facilitate the discussion much better. Stop, no dialogue or ping pong as what we call it. When two people start going backwards and forwards, and basically other people lose interest or becomes an argument between 1 and 2, those should be avoided at all costs. And a good facilitator should be able very kindly and very lovingly bring back to people that we speak in turn, and not to get into this unhelpful dialogue. Finish one subject before opening the next. Often we jump from one subject to another subject and causes lots of problem. Finish one, come to conclusion, and go to the next one. And also facilitate very easily, very kindly, very happily, or very respectfully. If something comes out of the context, we say, look, that's a good position, get a good point, I'm going to put it on my list and discuss this one later on. And you finish the subject that's under discussion. Have an agenda, record decisions, owner, and the deadlines. There is no point of saying about who said, etc. The most important is what the decision was made. Start on time, finish on time. Make sure everybody contributes. If somebody is very quiet, we usually say what you think, etc. And good facilitator will be able to draw the other people who are very quiet. And if the person has got nothing to say, will say, look, I have already said, or everything I want to say has already been said. There is no point of wasting the meeting's time. And last, don't open an old decision without a new fact. Often people open these old decisions that we made, and they don't like it, bring it up, and they discuss again every meeting that comes up. If there are new facts, then the subject is not opened. You may decide on the use of technology, etc., mobile phone in your meetings, but this is very specific to your situation. You may decide to go there. Therefore, that completes the 4 sections of the thinking together. We call this a Big 7 because there are 7 rules in each one of those 4 boxes, and they've been used for effective for decision-making process, for problem solving, for cultural transformation, communication, team building, effective meetings, the self-development, family life, etc., etc. Very, very effective. I hope you enjoy this. We're going to continue at the next session on collaborative decision-making process. Thank you very much.